flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory as the glory of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. The shepherds came and found Mary and Joseph and the babe lying in a manger, just as the angel said. They came and adored and worshipped him. The glory that had shone round about them was now within their own hearts. The praises that they heard the angels sing was now coming from their own lips. There was a humility, yet a majesty in that manger. What a notable act of humility for such a king to be born in a stable and laid in a manger. What Jesus came to do was much different than what most people expected. The shepherds felt very honored to be invited to such a majestic occasion, where there was a special presence of the Holy Spirit over the stable that night.
Starlit rain.
Sometime later, the Magi, nobles or wise men from the east, had seen the star and knew that the King of the Jews, the Messiah, must have been born. So they came to Jerusalem. They came bringing royal gifts. They came to Jerusalem to inquire of Herod the Great where this King of the Jews was to be born. Now Herod was a man that played politics well and had persuaded Caesar Augustus to appoint him ruler over the region of Judea. But Herod was a madman. He executed nobles as well as his own sons and some of his wives. He was not a true Jew, so he installed his own chief priests who defiled the priesthood. This was the man that the wise men stopped to inquire on.
Where is he who was born King of the Jews?
For we have seen a star in the east and have come to worship him.
King of the Jews? Another king?
Herod gathered the priests and scribes together and inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. Bethlehem, according to Micah's prophecy.
When did you first begin to see this star that you're following?
The wise men told him, and he replied,
Go search for this young child diligently, and when you have found him, come back and bring word to me, that I may worship him also.
So the wise men went their way to find and worship the Messiah. Meanwhile, this madman, king of Judea, would brood and boil over what he perceived as a threat to his throne.
of winter, all creation groans for a world of darkness, frozen like a stone, lies breaking in a stable for a throne, and He shall reign forevermore, forevermore, and He shall reign forevermore, forevermore. Unto us a child is born, the King of kings, the Lord of lords. He shall reign forevermore, 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 yeah.
The wise men followed the star right to where Jesus was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. When they had come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell and worshipped him.
If I were a wise man, I would travel far. And if I were a shepherd, I would do my part. Before I saw Him, I will give to Him my heart, and He shall reign forevermore, forevermore. He shall reign forevermore.
When they had opened their treasures, they presented him gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh.
Eternal years, Christ of lords. He shall reign forevermore, forevermore.
These wise men were truly wise, for they obeyed God and did not return to Herod, as they were warned by God in a dream. So they returned to their own country another way. As the wise men departed, Joseph was also warned by God in a dream. Arise, take the young child and his mother, leave immediately into Egypt, and stay there until I bring you word. Herod will seek the young child to destroy and kill him. When Herod saw that the wise men were not coming back, he burned with exceeding great anger and said,
Where are those wise men? Why haven't they come back? They despise me and my hospitality. Go and gather up the soldiers and tell them that to gather all the children 2 years of age and under that are male, and to put them to death in all the district of Bethlehem. Go! And don't come back until you finish the task.
Terror
Will not share my throne with anyone.
Terror broke out in the streets and districts of Bethlehem. This was prophesied by Jeremiah nearly 500 years earlier. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation, weeping, and great mourning. Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted, because they were no more. After Herod's death, God sent a message to Joseph by an angel, telling him it was now safe to return to Israel. They returned to the land and dwelt in Nazareth. Both these acts fulfilled prophecy. Hosea prophesied, out of Egypt I called my son. He shall be a Nazarene. Nazareth is where Jesus would grow up. Notice how different those were who came to seek Jesus as a child. There were the humble Jewish shepherds from the fields, and the noble wise men from the heathen kingdoms of the east. This was a sign that Jesus came for all mankind, both Jews and Gentiles alike. Just as sin knows no race, culture, economic status, or geographic region, redemption is available to everyone, of every race, of every color and tongue, rich or poor, everywhere, and of every generation. Time passed, and the child Jesus grew to be a man. It was as a man that Jesus began to fulfill the purpose for which he came. His preaching and teaching helped people to understand the very heart of God. He showed great compassion to the outcasts of society, the poor, the sick, the lame and wounded, as well as those who had been shamed by society. Great miracles accompanied his ministry. To a world filled with political and religious traditions, Jesus brought truth and grace. This sparked criticism, even hatred, among the religious leaders. As people cried out for deliverance from Roman rule, they cried out for a king to lead them. They looked to Jesus to be that king, but his kingdom was not of this world. The religious and political leaders had nothing to fear from him, yet they sought means to destroy him. Jesus was betrayed by one of his own disciples, Judas. He was arrested and tried as a criminal, yet Jesus did nothing wrong. He was charged with blasphemy for claiming to be the Son of God, which indeed he was. He was brought before the Roman governor Pontius Pilate, who asked him directly, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus replied, "It is as you say." Pilate responded, "Your own people, your nation, your chief priests have delivered you over to me." Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world." Pilate said to him, "You are a king then." Jesus then declared, "You say rightly that I am a king. For this cause was I born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice." Because Jesus was of Galilee, Pilate sent him to the ruler of Judea, Herod's son Antipater. Antipater had heard much about Jesus and hoped to see him perform some miracle. But Jesus would not answer him or entertain him with miracles. So Antipater just mocked Jesus and sent him back to Pilate. Pilate knew he should release Jesus, but the crowds cried out for his crucifixion. It was customary that Roman would release one prisoner during the Passover feast. But the crowd cried out for Pilate to release a murderer named Barabbas and to crucify Jesus. The crowd cried out, "We have no king but Caesar. If you release one who claims to be a king, then you are no friend of Caesar." So Pilate did what was politically correct and washed his hands of the innocent blood. Jesus was flogged and mocked. A crown of thorns was pressed upon his brow by the Roman guards. The flesh on his back was torn open by their cruel flogging. Then as they laughed and spit on him, they threw a wooden cross on his torn back and led him to his death. It was as Isaiah prophesied. All of us, like sheep, have gone astray. Each of us has turned to his own way, but the Lord has caused the iniquity of us all to fall on him. He was oppressed and was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. Like a sheep that is led to slaughter, like a sheep that is silent before his shearers, he did not open his mouth. Once nails were spiked to his hands and his feet, the cross was raised up, and a sign was placed over that cross that read, "The King of the Jews." His kingdom was surely not of this world. The Messiah, the Son of God, was killed as a common criminal, yet he was completely innocent. This